Hello everyone, Xanaro Gaming coming at y'all with another video today. I am pumping out the Black Clover deck profile videos, that is for sure. We have two more to cover and we are getting into purple, right? Purple is got the blue, or the Black Bull deck, which is this deck right here, and then also a Dark Triad deck. So today we are going over the purple Black Bulls deck. This deck is a really cool deck. It deals with a lot of value that you're trying to get by having multiple names of Black Bull characters out. And then, just getting value off that, whether that means a character comes in active or a character gains some kind of BP boost or, something along the lines of that. So we want to run a lot of, all of our characters are Black Bulls. That's to be said at the start. I think one issue that this deck does have is it doesn't have another raid target, which is a little unfortunate. And then you don't want to run some of the other cards like the Noel Searcher and things because you want to run a lot of triggers in the deck. And outside of that, we are staying at 42 triggers. Like I said, most decks, you want to stay around 40. And I think that, 42 is a sweet spot. Now, we are running 4 of our final triggers, Surpass Your Limits right here, right now, which is really, really cool. I love him in the show saying that, Yami. And then Black Bulls is our special trigger. This is a 4 energy, 1 action point special trigger, just called Black Bulls, special in life. And it says, choose one character in your opponent's front line. It loses 1000 BP for each Black Bull affinity card in your field until the end of the turn. So you can have, all your slots full. That's 8. That's minus 8,000 on the body. Can be really, really strong and such a sick art on this card for sure. Finishing off our events and sites is 2 of our site card, and this is the Black Bulls Hideout. 2 energy, 1 action point. I do like that it is only 2 energy, meaning that if you have a double energy generator, you can play it down. None of our cards cost 5. 4 is our ceiling of cards that we need for cost, and it is a get trigger in hand, so I think that only running it at a 2 of means that you are more than likely going to see at least 1 copy of this card. And it says, when played, if all cards on your field have Black Bull's affinity, which they will, choose one of the following. You either draw a card or place 1 Black Bull affinity card from your hand to your sideline. If you do, you draw 2 cards. There are certain cards that get value out of the sideline depending on how many Black Bull characters you have, so you do want to keep that in mind, and you do play with your sideline a little bit in this deck. It does a little bit of everything. Now I do want to, go down the line here. I do see that, the luck and Yami are ahead of him, but I want to touch on the Asta because this is the star of the deck and such a powerful card that it is. Excuse me. 4 energy, 1 action point, Asta. 4000 BP, generates you 1 energy. It is a raid trigger in life. Raids on top of Asta, and it says, if you have 4 or more other Black Bull affinity cards on your field, this character gains impact, which is really, really good. 4K with impact, being able to keep it essentially forever, because say you have 2 on the back line and then 2 up front, and then you use him as well, then you'll be able to get there. But it does says 4 or more other, so he does not count himself. So getting the impact, it may be a little tricky, but I doubt it. It should be pretty easy if you have 2 or 3 people in your energy line, and then the Asta and someone else should get you there. And then he always says, the character battling this character loses nullify impact for the duration of the battle. That is really strong, because if you go to play this Asta and your opponents try to play around it and they have a nullify impact, well, they lose the game because Asta says that nullify impact does not save them anymore. With that being said, he has even more text. He says, when sideline, you may place 1 Black Bull affinity card from your hand into your sideline. If you do, you may play up to 1 base card of this rated character set to resting onto your front line. So whenever he is sideline, you can trash a card from your hand and then play out the character that's underneath him back to the field, which is really good, right? It's an aggro card, a defensive card, and it keeps presence on the board, and that is what you're trying to do. You're semi trying to rush your opponent down, but also get value by having a lot of your characters on the board. This Asta is super good. We are running 4 of it, obviously, and then we are running 4 of the Yami. This is a 4 energy, 2 action point Yami, so a little costy. It is 4000 plus BP, and he generates you 1 energy. He is an active trigger. Unfortunate that he is not a get trigger. We would love to see him as a get trigger so we can make sure we have this card in our hand, but active triggers are really good. And he says, when played, if you have 6 or more other Black Bull affinity cards on your field, choose up to 1 character with 4000 less BP on your opponent's front line and sideline it. That is so good. Another kill spell for the deck. Cards like this that are kill spells, and then you also have your special, give you so much control in the game. Then he also says, when attacking, choose up to one character on your field with Blackpool's affinity, and it gains 1000 BP until the end of the turn. This is going to help you boost up that Asta, so that way it's 5k with the impact, meaning now a lot of these green decks won't be able just to block him out, and they're going to have to take the hit, or he can boost himself. It doesn't say, you know, it can't be any other character. It could be just anyone with Blackpools. You boost it. So much value you can get off of a card like this. Really, really good. Just 3 of that guy. And then we are running 3 of the Luck Volsha. It is such a good card. 4 energy, 1 action point, 3000 plus BP, generates you 1 energy. During your turn, this character gains 1000 BP. So it is going to be on your turn of 4k. And it says, when played, if you have 6 or more other Blackpool affinity cards on your field, switch this character active. So you play it set to resting. If you have 6 or more other, you get to stand it back up, which is super, super strong. This is going to be another one of your, you know, your late game end pieces here. Between the Luck, the Yami, and the Asta, you should have a board of 4k bodies ready to swing, and then you boost one of them to 5. This is going to be your end game. These 3 cards are definitely what the deck is trying to get to, and then everything else kind of supplements the deck, whether that be playing other characters or helping you search and find things, right? Just 3 of him. Only 2 of the Vanessa. She's a 3 energy, 2 action point. 3000 BP, generates you 1 energy, but no trigger in life, which is why I think that she only needs to be a 2 of. But she also costs you 2 action points, right? But it is coming with a great effect. When played, play up to 1 purple character with 2 or less required energy, 1 AP cost, and Blackpool's affinity from your sideline set to resting on your field, or perform raid with it. If you have 6 or more other Blackpool affinity cards on your field, 4 or less. So she lets you play a 2 or less regardless, but if you have 6 or more, you can play a 4 or less, which can be really, really good because you can then, you know, use her, play her out. If the Luck is in your sideline and you have the 6 others, you get to play the Luck out, and then the Luck will come out active because you already have the 6 others, which will be really, really good. You cannot play the Yami with this because she does say 1 action point, but you can raid with your Asta. If they do clear a raided Asta out, he will fuel himself. You play the Vanessa and then take that Asta and raid it back on the board. So you have multiple means of being able to play this Asta. So it's not just 4 copies in your deck. It can potentially be 6 with the Vanessa. We are running 4 of the Gosh, 3 energy, 1 action point, double energy generator, 3000 BP. This is the color trigger in the deck, which is the main reason I'm running him out of 4 of, because I'm really not crazy about his effect. It is not bad, but you do have to play around it. It says, when played, choose up to 1 character in your field with Blackpool's affinity, play up to 1 purple character with 2 or less required energy, 1 AP cost, and the same card name as the chosen character from your hand or sideline, set to resting onto your field. At the end of the attack phase, sideline that character. So what you're gonna want to do with this card is you're gonna want to try and play out your Astas from the sideline and then raid on top of the characters, so that way it doesn't have to leave. But outside of that, you know, he just comes down and he lets you get a free body on the board, so that way you're able to have more counts, right? So you don't always have to worry about losing that body. You play this card out, he lets you play another character. It could be just to fool your energy lineup, right? Like, say you need to fix your energy line even more and you just want to have those bodies on the board. He just lets you play another body in a name, which is the main reason you do want to run him at this. And then if you don't get to, you know, keep that character by raiding on top of it or by some other means, then that really doesn't feel bad, because he is the enabler to put a body on board, which may perhaps help you in an energy instance or the number of cards that are Blackpools you need on the board. He is really, really good, and I do think that as awkward as he is, it is essential in the deck. We are running 2 of the Zora, 3 energy, 1 action point, 3500 BP, 1 energy generator, so good stats on the card. And he says, if on the front line once per turn, when your opponent activates an activate main ability, if you have another Blackpool affinity card on your field, draw a card, which you're going to have, right? Because you had to have 3 energy to play him. And he has no trigger, which is a little unfortunate, because I do think that this guy could have been one of the stars of the deck. Now, I am running him at a 2 of, and I do think that his ability will come up pretty often, because your opponent is going to activate their abilities, and he may make them decide not to do some of those plays, right? Just having him out, your opponent may not want you to draw any more cards, so they won't activate those effects. He is really good. He is 3500. He is one of the bigger bodies that you have in the deck. Going to another Asta, this is a 2 energy, 1 action point Asta, and it is 3000 plus BP, 1 energy generator, and it is an active trigger in life, which is really good. Could be a get trigger, but that is okay. During your opponent's turn, if you have 4 or more other Blackpool affinity cards on your field, this character gains 500 BP. So he'll be a 2-drop 3500 BP on your opponent's turn as long as you got 4 or more. And you can see how we're able to, you know, put down a lot of low bodies that have some decent BP stat lines so we can kind of wall our opponent out. It is a Blackpool deck, and we're trying to run as many Astas as possible, and they are all very good cards. This is a 1 energy, 1 action point Asta, 2000 plus BP, 1 energy generator. It is another active trigger, so you can see we have a lot of active triggers in this deck, so you're not going to be afraid to take that first hit, get the active to boost some of these smaller people up, because you got so many. I think there's 16 in the deck. I'll go back and count in a second, but this Asta has Nullify Impact, which is so strong at the moment. We do know how important Nullify Impact is now that so many decks do have access to the impact. And it just says during your turn, if you have 4 or more other Blackpool affinity cards on your field, this character gains 1000 BP. So during your turn, he will be 3000, which is so strong for a 1-drop, and really cool that, you know, you have one that boosts during your opponent's turn and another that boosts during your turn. Now we are running 2 of the Finral. This is just the bounce double energy generators. We've seen these in the game. I do think most decks need to play 2 of them. I am a big believer in those cards. We do have 2 copies of Gray, really cute art here. 1 energy, 1 action point, 2500 BP, not a bad stat line for a 1-drop, 1 energy generator, another active trigger, and this is just another body for us to be able to put on the board. It is a Blackbulls, it is a 1 energy, so it does help us curve out, and you can see our curving is really good in this deck. The only thing we're lacking on are 2 drops because I did remove the searcher, but I think we run enough 1 and 0 drops to curve out really, really well. Going to our 0 drops, we are running 2 of the Magna Swing, 0 energy, 1 action point, 2000 BP, 1 energy generator. It says, when played, if you have another Blackpool affinity card in your field, draw 1, and then place 1 card from your hand into your sideline. This is just the draw 1, trash 1 triggers cards that we love to see in the game, but it is a little unfortunate that you do have to have a Blackpool out, so you're not able to play him down early to draw 1, trash 1, right? You're going to have someone else on the board to be able to get that cycle, and he is not a trigger, so that is why I'm not only running him at a 2-0, because like I said, we want to keep our triggers pretty high. We do run 4 of the Asta, 0 energy, 1 action point drop, 1500 BP, just to get trigger. All these cards like this, you have to run a 4. They're just so consistent for the deck. And for our other 4 drop, we are running 4 of the Charmy Pepiston. This is such a cool card. 0 energy, 1 action point, 500 BP, 1 energy generator. You're almost never wanting to put her up on the front line because she will be, you know, knocked out. And she is a draw trigger in life, and she says, when played, choose 1 character in your field, and it gains 1000 BP until the end of the turn. So this is one of the important cards that you're going to want to play. You're going to want to play down, you know, an Asta, and then maybe a Gray on the front line, and then the following turn, you know, play the Magna, play the Charmy, and then swing in with the Gray. That seems to be like what you would probably want to do, and now the Gray is going to be 35. Just some early plays that you want to do with this deck, which end up not being that bad, right? But that is the Purple Blackbulls deck profile. I do think that this is going to be a really cool deck. Maybe not as powerful as the Red Blackbulls deck profile, but I do think that this one, if it got another Asta Raid or something, it'd be really cool. But it is low to the ground. This deck gives me vibes kind of like the Kyoto High Purple JJK deck with the Toto. I do think that this deck plays really similar to that deck, where it has a little bit more going on in terms of like impact and boosting the characters, whereas the other one, that deck is kind of more a little bit different, but they play very similar. This deck reminds me of that deck a lot. I have it built, and if you're looking for a deck to, you know, maybe be similar to this one, and you want to build, you know, the Blackbulls version of it for Black Clover, then this is the deck for you. All right, we got one more deck profile coming out after this one. Please leave this video a like. Please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate everyone hanging out with me today. Peace.